Well, I tell you, isn't that some of us in this season, a holiday season right now, all we want to be is happy. What's up, everybody? I appreciate each and every one of you coming on into the virtual sanctuary of the St. James Show. I am your host, St. James. Hit that subscribe button right now. And also, if you haven't hit that like button on the video, do that as well. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you'll know each and every time I pop on live because I don't have a schedule, you know. Share on all your social media apps for me. Let everybody know we're here. And if you would like to be an exclusive member of the St. James Show, subscribe to Patreon and members only here on YouTube. And throughout the show, if you like to support St. James Group 7, that's St. James Group 7, always scrolling at the bottom, and other ways to support this channel. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday. It is pre-Thanksgiving. Tomorrow it's Thanksgiving. What do you have to be thankful for? Well, let's do it again tonight. Put it in the chat right now. What's your thankfulness on tonight? What do you have to be thankful for? What's up, Inspire? Inspire's in the building. Thank you for joining us. What's up, Seems? Good to see you. Thank you for being a member. Oh, Tasha. I keep saying Tasha. This is Tasha. What's up, Tasha? Good to see you. I am Courtney is in the building. Nicole is here. Thank you, Nicole, for being a member as well. What's up, Sharon Leonard? Thank you for being a member. Thank you for your support. Rosalind is in the building. I think there's a good word for you on tonight, Rosalind. Oh, yes, there is. What's up, Seta? Thank you for joining us tonight. General Davis is in the place to be. Thank you for joining us as well. Londa, our member Londa is up in the place. I appreciate each and every one of you. What's up, Jesse? You say he's thankful for not being ugly. Oh, I tell you, that's a blessing, ain't it? That is a blessing for not being ugly. Oh God. Oh God. And we yet praise him. Oh, yes, we do. All right, who else do we have up in here? Let's see. Pray Era is in the building. Thank you for your support. Appreciate everybody coming in. Listen, what are we talking about tonight? What in the world are we talking about tonight? We are talking about depression, faith, and navigating this thing as Christians, as faith people through the holiday season. You know, we're not exempt from the feelings of humanity. All right. What is up, Rita? Thank you for helping us reach our goal on tonight. Rita said, let's start this thing out with a $10 super chat. I thank you so much. And we do have a goal. We have 10 super chats of any color, but I like that 10. I tell you, and those reds are even prettier. But we appreciate all colors around here in the chat. So thank you so much, Rita, for getting the thing started on tonight. Listen here, we're not going to belabor the time. We are going to bring on our guest. Let me tell you, I met him last week in Orlando, and I said, you know what? I have to have him on here. None other than Dr. Let's see here, Dr. And I always have to look at it. So Dr. Terrell L. Strayhorn. Oh, I always want to say something else, but it is Strayhorn. Welcome. And welcome again.
Thank you. How you doing, my friend? You look great.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Excited about tonight's show. Thanks for the opportunity to join your platform and be here. And you're right. We just met this last week in Orlando, Florida, and I am so excited about it because I think, I'm a person who believes in sort of providence to most connections and interactions. And so I think there was a reason why we had to meet. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to come in this timing, especially given tonight's topic. I don't want to give that away till you get there. But I think it's the right time for us to get together to talk about these important issues. Hopefully not the last, but I'm glad to be here. And man, that's a beautiful background you have.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just kind of change it up every now and then. I'm working on something else right now. So I just want to keep changing up and keep doing things and making it different,
I understand why. Are you excited about tomorrow?
I am. It's so funny because I had a Friendsgiving and family on Sunday. So I did a big meal. They came here, and my mother was out of town with my niece. They went to go with the grands or my mother's grandkids. They went to go on a train to see Santa or something ridiculous. I don't know what they went to.
You did not go with them.
I did not go with them, but they went for a couple of days. But my thing is, I kept have to tell myself it is not Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is not over. It is tomorrow, because after doing all that cooking and stuff, I thought it was done. I thought it was done. But tomorrow I'm actually with my daughter and some folks. We're going to go out to eat. We're going to a restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to
Okay.
a restaurant. So after nobody wants to cook anymore. After I cooked on Sunday, they're
I
like,
can understand why. Well, you had Friendsgiving on Sunday,
yeah,
and it is it's a lot of work when you have to be responsible for the food, to cook for everyone. And it's not just the cooking. I think it's the cleaning up afterward. And most of the times people are ready to come eat. They don't want to help to cook and to
exactly.
clean up and put things
Yeah.
away. So
I had somebody come, they were a guest of somebody, and I had the food put out there, and they put their hands in something and picked it up and ate it, right? I snapped for a half a minute, doctor. I snapped.
this time of year.
First of all, I don't know who you are. First of all, you're a guest of my friend.
That part.
And you just don't come and see spreads and then take your hand, pick it up and put it in your mouth. Wait till you put the stuff on your plate.
Yeah.
I'm just like that.
So. I understand. Listen, if I had people over my house doing the same, I would feel the same. Now, here's the problem. I think from what I learned in Florida, you can cook. And if I had to cook for Thanksgiving and have friends over, we would have fried water.
Fried water. Well, at least you would probably order everything in, huh?
That exactly right. Now, I would definitely go out of my way to order the food, but because I like them, I'm not gonna cook myself.
Yeah. So listen, I met you last week in Orlando. You were there for the pretty much the content creator little think tank collective that we had. Did you know what you were coming to?
When I tell you no, I need to pump up the volume like 5,000 to 6,000 times. It was really interesting because I stayed, and it took me a while to leave. I think I just left a couple days ago, but
yeah, I seen you were there. You were there for a little bit of the prophecology as well, right?
Right, and I didn't know anything about that. As you may know, Dr. Jordan made a contribution to our university, really trying to accelerate what I do in my full-time job for around digital technologies and education, but primarily in theology.
And what school was that?
That was Virginia Union University. Yeah, okay. For everybody out there, go Panthers. In Richmond, Virginia, one of the nation's 101 historically Black colleges and universities, founded in 1865. And so we have a world-renowned school of theology there, the Samuel Dewitt Proctor School of Theology. And so he made a contribution to that school to start to invest in this idea around digital technologies, right? So I knew about that. And then he called me up and he said, hey, come to Florida and be a part of my think tank. And so I did that. I don't think I even knew. Sounds easy. Now, he told me, he said, look, I might call on you to say a couple of words around artificial intelligence and digital technologies, which are things that I've been writing about in my research. So I said, okay, cool. So I went there. And then when I got there day one and met all of you all, I thought, oh my goodness, wait a minute, blogger. And as you may know, I mean, your platform is way more expansive than mine, but I started a podcast about a year ago, not a full year ago. We're on episode number, we're inching toward episode number 60. So
wow. What's the name of your podcast?
Do Good Work Podcast on Spotify.
Do Good Work Mods, put that in the chat. Do Good Work Podcast by Dr. Strayhorn.
Yeah. And so, when I started that, we started on Riverside. That was our platform to sort of power it all, but it crashed so many times. And so someone told me, hey, come to StreamYard. And so we just started with StreamYard, maybe the last 20 some episodes. So I'm sitting in the room, I'm listening to you all. Y'all are talking about what you're doing, how you're integrating faith and theology and real life issues. And I thought, and y'all are talking about all of these tools, right? So I'm taking lots of notes. So I'm like, man, I came here thinking I was just going to say a couple of comments about artificial intelligence. Here it is. It's a master class on how to do be a vlogger and a podcaster. That was unexpected. Yeah. And then it was, the whole conversation around community, connectedness, trust gets at the heart of my work. I'm my full-time job. I'm a professor of education and psychology. I also work as a college administrator. So it was cool for me to watch the 3 or 4 of you with Dr. Jordan really thinking through how do you sort of increase impact by creating alliances and partnerships,
right,
versus competition. And you might remember at some point the word belonging came up, and I was almost floored because I write about.
Kind of searching kind of your stuff. That's kind of your word there.
That is my jam.
Yeah,
right? And so
belonging.
I was thinking, like, I didn't tell him this. So it was cool to get there. No, I didn't know what to expect. So after the think tank with the podcast vloggers, it led into Prophecology, which was sort of his institute for prophets. And again, belonging was at the fore. I mean, I got to speak multiple times. Now, here's the thing everybody in your audience should know. One, yes, I'm a college administrator. Yes, I'm a professor. Yes, I love research and teaching, but I was raised in the church. I'm an ordained elder in the Church of God in Christ.
Church of God in Christ.
Told you. Through and through. And I love the grand old Church of God in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, my first lady growing up, Aunt Helen's what we called her, but Helen Hughes Clark, she just passed last Wednesday. We just had her homegoing yesterday. And so it just puts me in this kind of reflective moment. And I know this gets right into, it's an on-ramp into what we want to talk about.
Definitely.
Right? Because here it is. My church family growing up at New Hope Church of God in Christ, which Bishop Clark and Lady Clark founded, here it is right at Thanksgiving, and we lost the matriarch. We lost our pastor years and years ago, but she just passed. And so we had her homecoming, and it was like a homecoming. It was like it was like a family reunion for everybody coming back together for a funeral. By the same token, it's going to be hard. Her grandkids, this will be their first Thanksgiving and Christmas without her.
Right.
Same for her kids. And so that's not just unique to them. That's for everybody. And so I think underneath all of this, I'm a church boy, church kid, church musician, and love thinking about the integration of faith and real life, which I know sits at the anchor of all you do.
Yeah. So, I mean, we try to, really kind of do a balance around here, because I think some people, they get caught up in the church and they don't understand that you can burn out doing that, and you can burn out mentally, physically, psychologically. You can just burn out, and it leads to other things. And I think that's been a route of people like pastors and things slipping up, and all of a sudden they're on our blogs, and they're because I think you have to have a balance in all of this. And this, which leads us into this season, because even on yesterday when I popped in and did a live, everybody, we're trying to be thankful and we're trying to be this, but there are some people who are just, and they're Christians, who are just not feeling it. And what would you say to them? I mean, is it a wrong feeling? Because I know some people say, well, you have Jesus. That's all you need. He makes you happy. But, not when mom just died, not when dad just died, not when, your child passed away, and maybe they passed away around this time. So what would you say to the Christian, just as a preliminary thing?
Yeah, well, I love the question, and I really love the fact that you're, offering your platform as a space to have this conversation, because we don't have it in church enough. You're right. People say, I got Jesus, that's enough. Just pray and it'll pass. I don't know. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. None of that really works. And so I think
scriptures and call me in the morning.
Yeah. Right. Read it in the NIV and the King James. You should feel better by tomorrow. It doesn't happen like that. I think the first thing I'd say is to help people as a psychologist working with clients. What we often do is reframing, right? A lot of Christians have been giving a false sort of choice or equation. Like, if I have anxiety or depression, then my faith must be weak.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling sad, then I must not believe in God enough. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to say clearly that is not biblical. It is
Right.
not psychologically accurate. It's not
Mhm.
sustainable. And it's just not healthy. You
Yeah.
can love Jesus, still have a therapist.
Right.
You can pray and take Prozac. You can fast and still need to go for a run in
Yeah.
order to just manage life. So I think, one, I would reframe how we've been taught and left to believe this, right? And as a man of faith who's also walking in these spaces of psychology and education, there's also scripture to back this up. Like, one that I know people kick around a lot is 1 Peter 5:7, where it says, cast all your cares or anxiety on him
Yeah.
because he
Mhm.
cares for you. Well, first
Right.
of all, because the Bible mentions anxiety, it
Mm.
must affirm that it's okay to have it.
You're gonna have it.
He said,
Yeah.
cast your cares. He didn't say, don't get anxiety. He said, when
Right.
you get it, cast it on him. And so this
Mm.
idea, um, makes sense only if God expects us to have anxiety at times, to be
Yeah.
afraid at times, to be sad at times, to be lonely at times. But we don't have to wallow in that. Those of us who are Christians, every Christian who's on your platform who will listen to
Yeah.
the live or the recording, you can bring it to him and to a psychiatrist, a
Yeah.
psychologist, or a therapist. And there are lots of examples of this in the Bible where David talks about, his heart being cast down, his soul being
Mm.
cast down. In other words, that he was sad. It's uncomfortable when you are being chased by many and you
Yeah.
don't know where to turn to and who to trust. That's okay. So I just want to affirm it's okay to
Mhm.
not be okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be anxious. But
Yeah.
those of us who are Christians don't experience those like we have no hope.
Come on now.
We can then take that to God. We can activate our prayer life, but we can also engage professionals who can help us with this. So I think, to make it more practical, for those who right now are feeling like, I'm struggling with my mental health
Mhm. Mhm.
during this holiday season. I know, like, in my own family, I lost my dad in April.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Sorry to
this is
hear.
our first Thanksgiving and Christmas without him. My
Mm.
brothers, sisters, cousins have already told me they're not feeling excited about it, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But
Yeah.
here's what I would do. First of all, 3 steps. One, just name it.
Write these down, mods. If you can be proactive, all mods in the chat. I'm sorry not to interrupt you, but as he's writing scriptures down, as he's writing steps down, if you can please put those in the chat.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. So just name it. You can't face it. You can't fix it if you can't face it,
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
we often say. So naming it, and if you want to exercise on this, like, give yourself license to think through, like, am I sad? Am
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
do I feel lonely? Do I feel empty? Search for words that really capture the essence of what you're feeling. Faith
Yeah.
is not pretending that you're okay. It's telling the truth to God.
Right.
Like, God, I miss my grandma. My grandma died a decade ago. I miss her.
Yeah.
I
Me
can
too.
name that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What do you miss about her? I miss her food. I miss her laughter. I can't go too far with that. I break down crying.
I
So
know.
first,
I know.
name it honestly, right? I think
Name.
secondly is to use the resources that God provides.
Mm.
He's given. I was at the sermon yesterday during my first lady's funeral. The preacher brought up a scripture from Timothy where the Apostle Paul writes that he gave some to be prophets, some to be
Hmm.
teachers, some
Hmm.
to be pastors. I'm going to keep going. This is the Terrell international version. He gave some to be therapists and
Come on now.
counselors and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
support
Yeah.
groups and
Uh-huh.
mentors and friends. And so because he gave us these, let's
Yeah. Yeah.
activate them. Let's reach out and talk to a therapist. If you don't want to go physically, there are teletherapists everywhere.
Yeah.
I really, a lot of times with my clients, I'll encourage them to look at apps like Talkspace. There are many more. You can Google these,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
Talkspace is
Hmm.
one you can plug in, get into a licensed counselor or therapist who can connect with you. So use the resources that God provides in order to help you be healthy psychologically. And then third, to really, this gets at the heart of my work, use belonging as
Hmm.
a spiritual kind of practice. My research shows that people thrive when they feel seen, safe, and supported.
Hmm.
And so church and faith communities, synagogues, friendship groups. Your village is supposed to be that kind of community, a place where people can say, I'm not okay, but I'm still loved and included. So if you are feeling that way, find places where you can be loved and accepted and respected just as you are. And now, that has huge implications for, like, if you're not feeling that love in your current church setting, then maybe it's time for you to look for a different church setting.
No, because grandma went to this church. My mom went to this church, and I have to stay here.
And it worked for grandma, and it might have worked for them, but it may not work for you. That's why that same spirit can live in you, but you may not be able to find what you need in that church, because, I know clients and friends who, like you said, go to the family church, but show up in the world differently, right? Maybe they're taller, shorter, they sing or they don't sing, or they're LGBTQIA, whatever it might be. And because of this, they got to find a place where they can feel affirmed and respected and included, and not have to hide and conceal in these spaces that are supposed. This is what's so interesting about belonging psychology. When we expect to be accepted, right? So, like, imagine going home to your family. You expect your family to accept you and to love you, right? But when you go to those spaces and you experience rejection where you expect to experience acceptance, it actually registers with the body as more damaging than just rejection on its own, right? There's some places we go, we expect to be like, look, if I went to a leather bar, I expect to be rejected because I don't wear leather like that. And I'm not going to look the right part, right? If I go to a ice skating rink, I'm probably going to be rejected because I don't ice skate very well. But now if I go to a Kojic church, or I go to an elders convention and there I'm rejected, my body's going to experience that more detrimentally, because it's a place where I'm going expecting acceptance, which means I'm more vulnerable, I'm more open, I have more guards down. And so I think we have to think about this, that there are certain resources that we're given that we ought to activate, especially if we're feeling this way at the holiday season. Those are three, I'd say.
There's another portion of that. There's like the grief portion and dealing with people, your loved ones who have passed. But then there's just that thing of loneliness. And, as Christians, you should never be alone. God is always with you. He's walking by your side. What a friend we have in Jesus. We have all of these things that we have been programmed to run in our head. But I know that, there's those people there that are single, that have been single for a long time, or they have lost their loved ones and they're just lonely. What can you say to the loneliness that people are experiencing during the season?
Yeah, I just realized my thing said host. I'm not the host of your show. I'm the host of my own show, but I changed it to guest. Don't worry. Don't even worry. Don't worry. I don't want nobody to think I'm.
No, you're good. You're good.
The loneliness of this season is quite real. So, I think, as I said earlier, one of the things I observe with students, with clients, is a lot of people struggle, especially this time of year, between distinguishing between like what's normal kind of holiday sadness, and true clinical depression. That's accessible, verifiable, and all of that. And so I think I would distinguish those in two ways. Well, first, by just normalizing that, as I said earlier, feeling sad around the holidays is incredibly common. Lots of people feel this way, because you think about it, there's certain traditions that we have around the holidays. You just said it, coming together with your friends for Friendsgiving, or coming for a meal on Thanksgiving, or coming together around the tree for Christmas, or whatever the holiday might be. There's certain traditions that bring us together, that remind us of who our villages consisted of or comprised of, right? And so it's during this time that we start to see with our eyes, observe where the circle is broken, who's no longer with us. And so that reminder of, oh, they're no longer here, oh, they passed several years ago, does catalyze certain emotions that can be sad, can be lonely, can be alienating. That's very common. I'm not saying that that's not important. It is important.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling that, that's a common occurrence. Therefore, it's not automatically a mental condition or mental illness or mental health problem.
Okay.
Grief, nostalgia, missing family, feeling lonely in a crowd, all of these are part of being human. So I want to say it again, because I know that just had this conversation with someone, like if you've lost anyone in 2023, 2024, actually, I'm going to say since 2020.
Yeah.
And if you start missing them, and finding yourself flipping through pictures of them, that's very normal. It's very human for that to happen, especially at holiday times. And so, lean in, allow yourself to experience that. That's very human. When I start thinking about the difference between sort of normal, common holiday sadness and what we call sort of true clinical depression, I would distinguish those in 3 parts. So to your mods, here are my points.
Okay.
One, most psychologists distinguish these in terms of intensity, duration, and functioning.
Gotcha.
Intensity in the sense of this: normal holiday sadness. Look, your mood is going to dip tomorrow if you think about them, but you still have some enjoyment. You can laugh at a joke, but you might still tear up when you hear their name.
Right.
It's a mood dip, but it's not permanent. You feel better after some time or after a meal, right? So if you at some point tomorrow or anytime during this November holiday season find yourself slipping, but you end up recovering through laughter, through a meal by the end of the day, that's the sort of ebb and flow, normal sort of sadness. Clinical depression, the volume knob is turned way up or way down. This is deep emptiness, hopelessness, and numbness for most of the day, and even nearly every day. So when you have it for a whole long day and it persists over a day or two, now you might start wanting to reach out to someone for some thought and some assistance, partnership in this, because the intensity of that shift is pretty significant. The second is duration. Normal holiday blues, might last for a few hours. It's often tied to a specific trigger. So like in my family, not only do we get together to have meals, we also watch movies, we look at pictures. And so with those pictures, those become triggers.
Right. I talked about that yesterday. It's like, even though you love some holiday movies and things like that, you got to watch that because some of that can trigger you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you just named it. One, well, we'll come to that in a moment, but these triggers are important because if we can identify our triggers, we can also control our triggers, right? So if you know that you are not, like when my grandmother first passed, actually my dad first passed, my grandma was a better example. When she first passed, I found myself, St. James, on platforms trying to talk about it, and I would break down into deep guttural crying to the point where I couldn't get my words out.
My grandmother dying, so I'm with you on that.
And so what I realized is it's not ready for prime time. I'm not ready to talk about that in public yet because I'm still grieving. Now that I've healed, I can activate a story about my grandma. And I can experience the emotion to get the draw from the audience, but I can recover relatively quickly. That's when I realized, okay, I've healed enough to where I can talk about it. I think when it comes to these sort of the difference between sort of holiday grief and clinical depression, if you're experiencing for a few moments, few hours, but there's a specific trigger, and then it eases up, that's just sort of holiday blues. But when it lasts for 2 weeks or longer, and it's not just a passing wave, it's not just a trigger, like you don't have this image or smell a certain scent, it just is there. That duration starts to suggest something that's more clinical. And then lastly, in terms of functioning, holiday sadness, you may feel off, you may tear up, but you still go to work, you go to church, you go to school, you hang out with your friends, you go to the store, you get up in the morning, you feel like giving it a try. With clinical depression, it really impairs daily life. You lose interest in things that you used to have interest in. Your sleep and your appetite changes. Your energy is drained. Your concentration is shot. And even basic tasks like brushing your teeth, getting up, doing your hair, start to feel overwhelming. I'll close with this. I want to hear your thoughts about some of this. There's data that suggests that right now, about 13% of people age 12 and older meet the criteria for depression.
Oh,
That is,
wow.
they have these long depressive episodes. So it isn't rare, it's quite common and it's serious, but that those rates get higher in two times: during holiday seasons and during certain seasons, especially winter seasons, where you got shorter days, less sunlight, it's cold outside. So for everyone who's listening and will listen, be mindful of, like, pay attention to your own body, your
Yeah.
own emotions during this season, because it can actually represent distress or depression where you may need some assistance.
And I'm glad that Tyree said this. I always work a double on holidays, and I've heard of people doing that, overworking and trying to really get over it and not think about it by throwing themselves into work. I don't know if that's a great thing. I know it could be to pacify the situation, but what do you say to that, Doctor?
Yeah, I agree. So here's how we typically think about it. If you find like it helpful to work in a healthy work environment, sort of longer hours, because in its goal oriented kind of work, like you're like, I'm gonna work a double, Tyree, because I'm trying to, make a down payment on a house or down payment on a car, trying to make sure that my kids, grandkids, myself have a great Christmas. If it's goal directed and purposeful, it can be productive. It can be a good way of doing it. But if you find that you're doing it to sort of preoccupy your time, to keep your mind off of other issues, all you're doing is just sort of kicking the can down the road. Those emotions and those challenges will surface again the moment you stop working those doubles, right? Or the moment your scheduling manager says, I don't have a double to give you. So I think it's far better go ahead and embrace what's happening, get help with it. And help is broadly conceived, could be a counselor, could be a therapist, could be prayer, could be hot yoga, whatever you need to do to be in balance. I think it's much better to do it that way than to use it to sort of distract yourself, because distractions for most humans are momentary. Yep.
So that's good. He says, I get it. Because I hear that all the time. People even someone had mentioned it today. Oh, I wish we were able to do some overtime on tomorrow, because they just didn't want to have to deal with the realness of the holidays. But it's so funny, Dr. Terrell, that it's like, and then comes Friday.
Yep.
And we're done with that. Of course, we have to go to Christmas, but there comes Friday, and it seems to just lift. Everybody, please hit that like button for me. And what was your podcast again? Do
Good Work.
Do Good Work is a podcast. And are you on all podcast streaming deals, or what are you on?
I'm on Spotify and
Okay.
have a YouTube channel. You can find it. I mean, either my name, Terrell Strayhorn, or Do Good Work. And I'm TL Strayhorn on all things social media.
Okay, so make sure you put that in the chat, mods. He's on Facebook and I know you're on LinkedIn as well, but Facebook and YouTube, and also the podcast. Rosalind has a question. Thank you for your support, Rosalind. And we do have a goal tonight, so make sure that you guys are hitting that goal button in the top of the chat and helping us reach our goal. Could Dr. Strayhorn speak on anticipatory grief? Is that what that is? My mother has dementia, so she is physically here. Oh, wow, but not mentally, but mentally transitioning.
Wow. Yeah, great question, Rosalind, and thank you for sharing that, and certainly love and light to you, your mother, and family. Anticipatory grief is an interesting and important part of the whole grief, sort of trajectory. It is, in some ways, a very difficult phase of it, because you're in the present and trying to prepare yourself for grief in the future when there's a level of it already for you to do. So it's anticipatory grief is the pain of the future hitting you now in the present, because you know where this goes, right? Yeah. It's like when you are, in the present, I often talk to my students in psychology about relationships because they love that, right? But if you've
Mhm.
ever been in a relationship and you can tell that things are not going well between you and your partner, and it's not over yet, you haven't thrown in the towel, but you know that you're pretty close to it, and so are they. And so
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
starting to deal with the emotions in the present. But yet, here's the hardest part, right? But yet you still got to go to date night. But yet you
Yeah.
still got to go celebrate their birthday. You still have, and it's like you know there's a expiration date to all of this. So anticipatory grief is difficult because it's the emotional cost you pay before the loss happens.
Oof, man.
It's your mind sort of rehearsing goodbye time and time and time again so it doesn't blindside you.
Mm.
Except the rehearsal of it hurts almost just as much as the actual performance.
Wow.
To some people, they call it preparation. I don't think it's just preparation. I think it's actually pre-loss kind of suffering because it's real. You're starting to realize and let go and deal with and anticipate what will happen. It shows up in the body, Rosalind, a lot of times by us trying to manage
Mhm, mhm.
the uncertainty of it all, right? We find ourselves imagining worst case scenarios and also imagining best case scenarios. We're not sure if it's going to go this way or that way. And that's difficult when you don't know. The brain hates ambiguity. It
Right.
likes for us to know stuff. So what it does is it'll start filling in the blank very quickly for us and say, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to happen here. And then when it doesn't happen, it just realizes I still don't know. This is why people really grieve, like I said, relationships before they end. They grieve aging before they decline, and they grieve change before it even actually happens. So a lot of times, um, you know, we have to identify the root cause. And so I'll give it to folks. Evidence is very clear. The root cause at the seed of this is fear. It's
Mm.
fear disguising itself as foresight.
Mm.
We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of losing our loved ones, and that's human, and that's okay. So I think part of what we can do is I'm going to go back to what I said earlier: be in the present.
Yeah.
We don't know when it happens, but you do know what's happening now.
Ray says, does that make the subsequent grief easier to manage, or is it kind of a per person type of deal? What do you think?
It only becomes easier to manage when we allow ourselves to admit that we don't know, right?
Mm.
So if I can start saying, okay, so I know, like my dad's health started failing. Initially there was a strong resistance to the idea that this could be it,
Yeah.
regardless of what the medical professional said. But as it got closer to what would become his transition, I could realize and start finding myself saying, I'm not sure when it is, but I am open to it could be or it might not be.
Yeah.
And I let go of trying to know, like, is this sickness unto death?
Mm.
And is it going to be Tuesday or will it be Thursday? And will it be in the hospital or will it be home? I got rid of that. I had to let go of it and just started being in the present. Like, you know what? I know I can go see him today. I know I can talk to him today. I know I can talk to my mom and check on how are his levels and vitals today.
Mhm.
And two, I started trying to manage living
Yeah.
versus managing my emotions. And what I mean by that, St. James, is like before my dad passed, I had moments where I sat at home and looked at pictures of us together and
Mm.
cried. And I allowed myself to cry, to
Right.
experience the fact that, you know what, he's not gone from this earthly home, but I know that physically he's not the person who's in this image. So I started allowing myself to grieve just the aging process of life. And I think we can, as humans, give ourselves that. And then lastly, I think, we often struggle because we want to know how this ends up. We want to know the day, the time, the
Yeah.
situation, whatever. And I think if we can not only be present, but stop trying to predict, but help ourselves open up to the fact that one, um, you know, what do we know? What's the reality, right?
Yeah.
We know that, and I think Rosalind, you put it in the chat. You know that your mom's memory is different. All right. So you start thinking about that. It's different. What's different? People often fixate on what's changed. And what I often have people think about is what's not changed. Right.
Mm.
So her memory might be slipping, but like my grandma, when she was in her final days, she had suffered an aneurysm and wasn't talking much. But I know one thing, man, my grandma still looked like herself. And, when people would come in the room and they play music, she would still kind of move a bit. So she still had that rhythmic, that's response to music. So I think focusing on the things that don't change and
Mm.
haven't changed can also be a way of just creating that kind of cognitive continuity that we need to prepare for that transition.
One thing that I always kind of lean on, and I'm telling you, sometimes it's rough to do, but you have to really understand and know that God has never put more on us than we can bear. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know it's so hard sometimes to really get that in our spirit. But I tell you, and I told my mom that a little while ago, and she just said, "Oh, she just had to agree once again," because I think we forget about that part where if God has put this on you, whether it's taking care of a loved one or taking a loved one, and you having to deal with your emotions and your grief and your loneliness and the depression, the short, even if it's short depression at this time of the holiday, he has entrusted you because he has taught us and he has affirmed us that we can bear what we are actually going through.
Yeah.
I know it sounds kind of clichéic, but it's really not. It
No,
really isn't.
it's so real. Well, the other part is, and I know people often use the scripture to refer to um, the second coming, but
Mhm.
like no man knows the day or the hour.
Yeah.
We're humans. We strive to be like Jesus, but we're not Jesus.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we don't know the time, and so I think the other part that I had to experience with my dad's health was, doctors will come and tell you a lot of stuff like, hey, we think this might happen, and hey, this procedure might lead to this. No one knows. It's
No.
all educated and informed guesswork. And I just had to get to a place, even with my family, when talking about it, just saying like, I don't know. I got to be okay saying that, like you said, one, I know God will put no more on me than I'm able to bear. So if it happens, I must be able to bear it, even if it's hard, even if I cry, even if I'm,
Mhm, mhm. Right.
experiencing struggle, I must be able to bear it. And then two, that we are not God. No one knows the day or the hour that any of these transitions will happen. So then we trust him, even when we
Yeah.
can't trace him.
Before I have another question, before we get that, Jacqueline, thank you so much for helping us reach our goal on tonight. We're almost there, everybody. Only 6 more. Please touch on mental turmoil after medical trauma. She has been a wonderful survivor, and a great supporter of the St. James Show. And we were
Wow.
praying for her. We were at one point we were like, "Where is Jackie? Where's she been?" But God has healed her. So she said, "Please touch on the mental turmoil after a medical trauma."
My Lord, Jackie,
Mm.
love and light to you and everybody who is a survivor of
Yeah.
any form of trauma. Let me tell you, um, uh-oh, medical trauma is real.
Yeah.
And, you know, your body, your mind, I tell people all the time, like the mind is it's a powerful muscle, right?
Mm.
And it relives and re-experiencing what we call in psychology revisiting. It
Yeah.
revisits what your body survives.
Mm.
So, right, so you go through cancer, you go through a bad relationship, you go through a car accident, and you survive it.
Yeah.
And that's the first phase of survival. But the second and third phase is your mind is still reliving all of the moments that led to and through. And it really, what the problem with it is, medical trauma sort of shatters your sense of safety. And
Yeah.
so even after your body heals, Jackie, as you mentioned, your mind keeps replaying the event because it's
Mm.
trying to make sense of the moment that it lost control.
Oh, wow.
right? So then sometimes you find yourself with nighttime anxiety, sudden panic attacks, intrusive memories, fear of recurrence, because your bodies think it's experienced trauma. And what it's trying to do is protect itself, because that's how our bodies are wired, from ever experiencing that again. All of it is your brain trying to solve the problem, a danger
Mhm.
that's already taken over. And that's why recovery can feel like deja vu. Is mentally, the threat still feels present, even if the surgery or the crisis or the bad relationship was months and years ago. So, it's your mind refusing to trust the world again after it's been betrayed. Now, I'll share this. I work with some foster youth, and
Mm.
foster youth who have been through some really tough situations. They've been so gracious to share their story with me as part of my research. And some of them will find themselves in foster homes or lovely adopted homes where they're being supported and cared for and loved, but something happens that causes them to be sent away. And
Yeah.
usually it's that their mind is still reliving some of the trauma that their body experienced elsewhere, despite the fact they are in a safe place now.
Yeah.
So medical trauma is the cause of that. After a health crisis, the smallest sensation or thought can trigger those
Mhm,
feelings.
mhm,
And
mhm.
exactly like Faith put, it's like war veterans with flashbacks. It's
Yeah.
like those who have been attacked or assaulted who are afraid to go out at night. It's
Yeah.
your mind. First, let's just affirm it's your mind trying to keep you safe. So there's a
Yeah.
protective element to this. But the question becomes, what do I do about it? And there's some things you can do. One, you can um, work to rewrite negative scripts, is what we talk about in psychology.
Wow.
Rewrite your mind, right? And that is help it realize, like, one, um, this happened to me, but I am not it. Right. So
Yeah.
you got to help your mind realize I am safe. I'm in a good place. I am worthy of love. I am well and whole, which I don't know if your audiences does it, but this is the power of mantras
Mhm,
and
mhm, mhm.
powerful sayings and
Yeah.
it
Affirmations and yeah.
thank you. That's
Mhm,
the word I was looking
mhm.
for. Affirmation. It helps rewire your brain,
Yeah.
because sometimes it can get caught in this loop of, oh my gosh, I've been harmed, I've been attacked, um I've experienced trauma, and therefore it protects itself from it. You're really trying to rebuild your sense of identity, your sense of safety, your sense of confidence. And so one is these kind of messages, affirmations can be powerful. The second is a lot of it has to do with belonging in community, that we got to be around. I don't know, Jacqueline, if this is your story, but this is why those who are going through grief will sometimes go to grief circles. Those who
Mhm,
are going,
mhm.
survivors will sometimes get together in community with other survivors to talk
Yeah.
about their experience and to grieve aloud or experience that trauma. That kind of community and connectedness can be really powerful for helping you be with people and helping your brain realize, one, we experience trauma. In psychology, we call it pluralistic ignorance. It's this
Yeah.
idea that I'm the only one who survived cancer. I'm the only
Mhm,
one
mhm,
who's been
mhm.
through a divorce. I'm the only one who lost their job. And by being in community with others who've had that experience, it helps us rewire our brain to know that we're not alone. Here's the other thing, that this feeling, this trauma, this experience can pass with time. It
Right.
does get better. Those are the messages that we get from that.
It does get better. So y'all type that in the chat for me.
Yeah.
It does get better. Boy, I tell you, it's a lot, but I think if people really settle down and kind of use some of the things that you're saying today, I think it really could help move us along. I wanted to kind of talk about leadership,
Ooh.
faith, pastors and
Mm,
bishops and elders and such like yourself, dealing with everybody else's trauma
yeah.
and issues, especially during the holiday. And I think sometimes they can be a little left out. I know sometimes we're hard on pastors and faith leaders, but I think around this time we can't forget that our pastors and our leaders, our bishops, apostles, prophets, whatever, that are responsible for people, that have people looking up to them on a regular basis, we're forgetting about what they're feeling. What would you say to the feelings that they have, and how should we be towards our faith leaders in this holiday season?
That's a great question. I think the first thing that comes to mind is, and I just had this moment again this week. I'm trying to think about now why I had it, but just remember that they are humans too.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you're good.
Thing just fell off. But to realize that they're humans too.
Yeah.
That they have loved ones who are no longer with them, that they may be experiencing grief themselves, and that's okay, and that's human. They might be in need of care and a hug. They may not know the answer. I think all of this is part of what I would say people should remember is that, holiday times can be a mix of challenge and joy.
Yeah.
For all humans, regardless of whether you're the pastor, the evangelist, the deacon, the lay member, or whatever. The other piece, especially about pastors, church leaders, is, it's more than the holiday time.
Yeah.
It's also the end of the year.
Okay.
And I think that's an interesting time for leaders. And I can come to it both as church leader and a educational leader, right?
Okay.
And so this is the time of year where a lot of people are starting to take stock on like what did we accomplish in 2025? Why? Because 2026 is knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And you're taking stock of like everything from finances to how much did we raise to how much do we owe to all of our bills paid and how was the membership. And so I think this is a time of year where people maybe I guess what's in my mind is like giving people grace.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Giving leaders grace that if you find that they're very focused on the bottom line and thinking a lot about goal attainment, whether that is lots of offerings and lots of fundraisers and trying to push all the ministries to do all they can to help, it's because, I know people don't like talking about it this way, but church is a business in part.
Yeah.
And this is the time of year where people have to get ready to see like, what is this going to look like? And, a lot of people take breaks during the holiday season. Like they don't go to church because they're with their family. They're with their family for Christmas. So that means attendance can go down.
That gift money back from the church at a lot of times too at this time. Yeah. Wow.
So I think that is, I think that's front of mind for me. But, I button up where I began, and that is just to remember that I remember one time I worked at a church. I'll leave the name out, but I worked for a church. I was the pastor's adjutant, and
we name names over here.
I know y'all do.
I know, go ahead.
But it's not one of those kind of stories. So
okay,
you don't need it. You don't need it. Nobody wants it, right? If it was a good juicy one. But I worked for this church, and I was the pastor's adjutant, which simply meant that I was very close to the pastor, and you can't imagine how many times the pastor, first lady are called to come and see the sick and come and, to everyone's Thanksgiving dinner or Friendsgiving and to come help them, people who, fall on hard times to pay their rent at the holiday season. And so it's a lot on them. And I think, if you, have a church leader or a pastor, just remember, check in on your strong people, as one of my friends often says. They often have to check in on others, but who checks in on them to say, do you have what you need? And are you taking care of yourself? And do you get a break? And is there anything I can do to help lighten your plate, especially during this season where a lot of people have a lot of demands?
Yeah. A couple more questions. I'm not going to hold you. I just wanted to do like an hour. So I don't want to go too much far over that because I know that you got things to do, as we all do. But loneliness can sometimes make people question their purpose. Um, how do you guide someone through that spiritually, through that, like spiritually and mentally? Like they're lonely. I have no purpose, or I'm questioning why. What's the best navigation at this time of the season that you would offer?
Yeah, I mean, I like what you're the points you're making, so many of them, because they're very human kinds of questions. You
Yeah.
know, I often spend a lot of time in my public lectures talking with audiences about the fact that um, the average human has millions of thoughts per day, and
Hmm.
if we could, like put our AirPods in, and it would allow us to hear all of the thoughts of the people around us, you would be surprised how, like, what proportion of thoughts that a person has in an average day are of the order that you're talking about right now,
Hmm.
right? So people might be saying all sorts of things out of their mouth, but most thoughts in people's minds are things like, um, am I making a difference? Does my
Yeah.
life matter? Do I have enough friends? Do people like me or hate me? Um, am I pretty or am I ugly?
Hmm.
All it just keeps going, and
Yeah.
it avalanches. And so, do I have a purpose? Am I living this purpose? I just said last week, one of the most how do you say, like, wrong thoughts that people have
Hmm.
is,
Hmm.
lots of people think that people think about ending their life, what we call suicidal ideation,
Mm.
happens because people don't think life is worth living.
Yeah.
And the evidence, the research is true. There we go. Yes,
Yeah.
you do matter, saints.
Hmm.
Everybody matters. You are enough. You belong here, right? But that's not the thought that leads people to think about ending their life. The thought that causes more people to think about suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts is actually that life may be worth living. I just don't feel like I'm living my life purposefully.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
not on assignment. The thing I'm doing doesn't have value, or I'm not doing the right thing. So to get to your question, you made the point that loneliness really can cause people to question their purpose in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because loneliness exposes the gap between who you think you are and who you actually are, right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
when sort of you're forced to confront yourself with the idea that my life has to have meaning without title,
Mm.
without accolades. Like, the award matters in the moment and maybe the week following, but
Yeah.
the award won't give you a sense of purpose, right? Purpose is what survives after the applause.
Right.
Purpose is what's standing after all the likes and the follows are gone, right? And so lots of, especially today, not just in this holiday season, but with social media and the advent of it, um, it's hard for people because so much of their sense of purpose, we depend on affirmation from others.
Yeah. And
Like, so
comparing it to social media and things you've seen. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. But we know, especially those of us who are Christians, that God sometimes removes us from the crowd
Hmm.
so he can speak to us about purpose, right?
Mm.
It's when he removes us from the group. He told the woman who's a widow who has the sons that were taken into captivity, the Elijah stops by and says, go and shut yourself in the room, shut the
Yeah.
door, take your sons in the room and shut the door. And there God multiplies her little bit of oil and makes it much. But
Yeah.
it was in loneliness and isolation that she got the miracle that she needed. She got the
Wow.
purpose. And I think isolation is sometimes where God really helps us understand our assignment. So
Mm.
the problem is we don't like to be lonely.
Yeah.
And so I think some tips I would offer to the audience would be, figure out how to restore. And by the way, there's a difference between being alone and lonely, right? You can be alone by yourself and still have joy and get joy when you think about. But loneliness is when you are by yourself, or you can be lonely in a crowd, right? And you feel disconnected from people. So I think one is just really trying to spend time thinking about purpose. Purpose is different from job. Purpose is different from, hobby. Really, what's the thing that what's the project you're working on? What's the problem you're trying to address or solve? What's that big thing that is, you would do it even if no one was watching. You would do it if no one paid you. What's that project for yourself? And
that's
then
purpose.
That's purpose. That's purpose. That's that book, Purpose Driven Life. That's all that whole book sums up, is that purpose is not about performance. It's about the thing. So, I'll tell you about my own little journey for a second. When I got licensed to ministry, I thought I was going to be a pastor. And when I say pastor, I thought like pastor a church, have a pulpit. I remember being younger thinking I'm going to get a Cadillac car or Mercedes, some big car. I was going to eat chicken, and I'm vegan, so it doesn't work very well. But I was going to eat chicken, and I was going to have a big church. And that was it. I thought all of this was going to happen. And as I got older, I kept looking for that. I was on a plane traveling to go give a lecture. And I remember the prophet who spoke into my life when I was a kid said that if I keep my hand in God's hand, I would travel the world and preaching my message or something like that. So I thought, I was on the plane, St. James, I'm looking out the window. I'm like, okay, now God, you told me when I was a kid that I was going to be a preacher. And I thought I was going to have a big car, and I thought I was going to have a big pulpit. I thought I was going to have a lot of chicken and make some money preaching the word. And I almost, like he was sitting beside me, I heard him say, that's not what I said. You gotta listen. I said, that's your interpretation, but that ain't what I said. Come on. He said you would travel the world preaching the word. My word is belonging.
My God.
And if I do nothing, I travel the world. So I used to say I was a professor, then I went to a preacher. So now I realize that my purpose is I'm a messenger. I'm a communicator. I have a message. The message is for everybody in your audience, those in the live and those who will watch it, is listen, you matter. You do. Your life matters. Your work matters. Your interest matters. Your quirkiness matters. I don't care what anybody said to you. One, you matter. Two, you are enough. Just the way you are. You don't have to add to it. You don't have to subtract from it. You don't have to downplay it. One, you matter. Two, you are enough. And three, you belong here. You belong where you are. You say, well, Terrell, where's here? Wherever you are, right at that job that's getting on your last nerve, you belong right there. You're there for a reason. Now you're also there probably for a season. Now you got to sort of sit with that moment and say, what am I supposed to get out of this? What's the purpose of this predicament? What's the purpose of this pain? We were talking about Rosalind and Jacqueline earlier. What's the purpose of this problem that I'm facing? All of it comes because all things work together for the good of them who love God and are called according to his purpose. So you got to ask yourself, what is it? So many people confuse affirmation and celebration with purpose. That's not what it is. If purpose is your assignment, and you're trying to figure out, like, what is it that I'm supposed to do and where it's supposed to go, you have to spend time on that, just like you do any other assignment. You got to think about it. You should be working on it. That's why I loved the couple of days I had with you and your colleagues. Is like, I learned so much about, look, for anybody who knows, I know maybe not everybody knows this, but St. James makes this look easy. But what he is doing is not easy, y'all. Like, this is your purpose. This is your assignment. But to do it, you've had to think about, like, what platform will I use, and what's my lower third going to be, and what is my background going to do? Who's my host, and what time will I go on, and what are the questions? All of that is.
Should I say this or should I say that? It's always.
Should I? Here's the one that this is definitely you. Should I even cover this story? This scandal, or what would be my perspective that's true to my brand? All of that is part of living out one's purpose, and it applies across our field. So I think I can only imagine how much of that work you had to do in solitude. Because if you had asked other people, St. James, like, what should be the focus of my show? You would have
Right.
15 different perspectives.
Yeah.
Should I cover the story? You'd have 14 different opinions. Should I do it this way or that way? No, sometimes you've got to go in and shut the door and in solitude, really work on purpose with that passion. I think that's what people often want, the accolades. I think they want the follows, they want the money, but they don't want to do the work. And that work often happens backstage before you're ever front stage.
Man, that is so powerful, because it's what I've been dealing with doing this deal here. It's, what, why, when, how, those questions are always on the forefront of my mind when trying to present here on the platform. But yeah, I get a lot of suggestions. I get a lot of, all day long, people send me things of what they think I ought to talk about. But I think God is structuring the purpose.
Yeah.
He's structuring the purpose. And even by even last week, he was that iron was sharpening that iron last week, because we were in a therapy session for a whole day before we got. Yeah, and I tease William and jives about it, but it really was something all encompassing for everybody. It really was, because some things people were triggered by, they didn't know they had a trigger, and it caused some interesting dialogue.
Well, you just said something there, and I see someone in your chat. Your chat is on fire. I can't even keep up with all the things, but there was someone who just put in the chat something about grief. But so earlier we were talking about triggers, and knowing your triggers, and that's easier said than done, because quite often we don't know our triggers, and you end up in a space, like you were just saying, in a room, thinking you're coming to have a casual conversation. Before you know it, you get provoked. Boom, there it is, and the body responds. I mean, the body's going to protect you, right? So the moment it feels offended, shunned, provoked, it goes into protect mode, and now you're climbing up to 10,000, and you need something to bring it down. So I think one is, know your triggers, but when you don't know your triggers, know how to de-escalate. And I watched you do that, quite frankly, in that group. Sometimes you got to tell yourself that you don't have to attend every fight you're invited to.
That's right.
Right. And that's an internal kind of argument. Like, sometimes people I know will provoke me by saying certain things, and sometimes I'm in for a good go off session. So I'll be like, you know what, you want to knock him out of box. You want to knuck and buck? Come on, we can do it. But then most times I like a happy heart. So I'm like, you know what? I know in my mind, I'm saying, I know what they're doing, and I'm not going to give them what they're looking for. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 3, or everything. I am not what they say to me. Just because they say it doesn't mean it's true. You know what? I know what they're trying to do. I'm going to forgive them. And sometimes I literally do this. I'll be in meetings, conversations, whatever. And while the person is speaking, I'll be saying in my mind, not out loud, say, forgive you, and I'm forgiving them. I'm going to forgive that too. I'm going to forgive that too. Nope. I'm going to forgive that too. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. And I'm nodding my head, and they're thinking I'm agreeing with them. But what I'm doing is saying, like, I'm going to just keep forgiving you. Because because the moment I enter into that conversation and take the bait that you're giving me, it's over. I'm going to shut it down. I promise you I'm going to have the last laugh. But I know that I'm not in that mood, and that's not Christian at all times. Now, my mom, I know she's probably watching because I sent her your link.
Good.
My mom often tells me that she and I had a conversation years ago where I shared the phrase that, you have to teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
I do. I'm a firm believer in that. Sometimes you do have to teach people, how to handle you, how to respond to you, how not to respond to you, how to, whatever. But once you do that, then trust them with the information you gave them. I think that's important. But if I get a chance, what did you just had it on the screen. I wanted to
What was
say
it?
something to your colleague who was asking about introvert and alone, because I was just
Oh,
at
right
Rhode.
here. I think it was this one. Jesse was saying, was Jesse saying it
Yeah,
or
I'm naturally an introvert. Grief and this characteristic is not an easy task to manage.
Rhonda?
Jesse,
Yeah.
you're right. So I was just at the University of Rhode Island and met some students. And they were talking about, like, I want to belong, but I'm an introvert, or I want to matter, but I'm an introvert. And I think there's some points we can make here is that, all of us are usually on the spectrum of
Mhm.
introvert and extrovert. Most people think I'm an extrovert, but actually, if you give me the assessment, I'm an introvert. I
Mm.
just know how to perform like an extrovert because of the nature of my work. Now, the reason why I know I'm an introvert is I got to have some time to recover when I pour out, right? Like
Yeah.
I've got to get to be by myself. So, introverts need solitude, yes, but you know, that doesn't mean that you can't experience grief in a healthy, productive way.
Yeah.
It's when your need for solitude becomes avoidance. That's when you start to realize, okay, this is unhealthy kinds of introversion and grief coming together, right? If you find yourself, yes, I'm an introvert. I normally I choose to stay home, not go to the party. I usually have more me time than us time. That's cool. But when that silence stops being restorative and it becomes a place for you to hide from your own life, hide from your own pain, that's when, Jesse, I think you're really talking about something where you want to really be mindful and maybe reach out to friends, community, and certainly professionals for some help. Too much aloneness tricks you into thinking that
Mhm.
your thoughts are truth. The reason why we get around people, other than the fact we have a good time, we have a good
Yeah.
drink, we have a good whatever, is being around people helps you fact check your own thoughts, right? So, like, you imagine being in a group and people say, da 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 da, does that make sense? Da da da, does that hit? Does that resonate? That's what we get out of community.
Yeah.
Is people around us can help us verify if our thoughts are valid and truth. When we're alone and we have too much alone time, all of the sounds and voices that we hear become an echo chamber.
Yeah.
So then you start telling yourself, oh, I'm sitting at home. Oh, I have no friends. I have no friends because I'm not cool. I'm not cool because I'm too thick or I'm too thin.
Mhm.
You know, my I don't have a purpose in life. I'm not worthy of love, and no one's there to intervene.
Yeah.
So this is why those who are, whether you're introvert or extrovert, when you're going through grieving processes, you want to do self-care, but also create community, be around people. And you don't have to go outside to be, I mean, during the pandemic, I had some of my most productive communal connections through Zoom,
Yeah.
like joining Zoom groups and going to Pilates or hot yoga or whatever it might be. I
Mhm.
think there are lots of ways you can
You
do
and
it.
my daughter, this hot yoga stuff. She loves some
Have
good
you
hot.
done it?
I've never done it, but she does it every week.
I haven't done it every week now. Oh wow, she's committed.
Every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just cool to do. I go, I mean, look, I always tell people, I said it that day, right?
You
I'm
what?
5'6",
5,
130
6,
pounds,
130 pounds.
and got the nerve to talk about I'm on a diet. But
Oh, please,
so I
please.
go to the gym, I go to Pilates, I go to most of these fitness kind of spaces for community. It's
Yeah.
just to be around like-minded people.
I think that's important, Dr. Terrell. I think people, since the pandemic, people have gone into that sunken place and
Yeah.
think that it's just, oh, I survived by myself, or I survived without church, I survived without community, and I can do it. But really not putting to the forefront, there are some things that you're battling with in the mind
Yeah.
that community could probably help you with. So I think we need to break that pandemic cycle of thinking now. Even
Yeah.
myself, I'm like, Lord, I would, where are you directing me to, get back into the church, because I think it's because I was going, and I want to go. It's just where. And I think we got to have those questions, those serious questions that we ask God even now. Where's our community? Where can we go to have that iron sharpen iron and not just lead to our own understanding.
Right. And that's the part, I mean, again, people take the scripture and use it all sorts of ways. The Bible says that, one, it's not good for man to be alone. Yeah. I don't think that only has to do with
that just means a man and a wife. That's all.
No. I don't think it's good for us to be alone long periods of time, which is why, if you think about it, one of our carceral logics, the logic that drives our justice system, is when criminals are bad, what do? We put them in isolation because we know that isolation is punishment. But yet we isolate ourselves as humans. We don't go to the party. We don't sign up for this listserv. Listen, we don't subscribe to the St. James show, and y'all need to do it right now. Go click subscribe right now, so that, listen, you can be in community. I told you, I think I share this at the think tank. I post videos sometimes in my class, and one day one of my students came up to me and said, Dr. Strayhorn, could you please activate the comments? And I said, why? She said, there's so much community in the comments. There's so much community in the chat. I said, really? She's like, yeah, because you can put your thought and people can upvote it or downvote it and share and react. And I didn't realize, because that's not how I experienced the chat at first. But now I realize you can have community and connectedness even in the chat on a video. And sometimes that's what people need. So, people have to subscribe to channels. They've got to watch podcasts. They've got to go out. If you, and I'll say it this way because I've said some version of this at my own campus, if you know that you're feeling blue, you have days where you're feeling down, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling empty, you feel like you are sort of just dragging through the day, but yet you don't go to the holiday social. You don't go to the Friendsgiving. You don't go to the open market on a beautiful Saturday, even if it's a little chilly outside.
Yeah.
You are denying yourself the medicine that you need to be better.
Yeah.
Like, you are one high five and a hug away from feeling whole for many times. But oftentimes when we're in those, and I know, I don't want to diminish, if you're dealing with clinical forms of these conditions, it can be hard to even get out of the bed. So that's why you got to reach out. I saw you put the self-help line, reach out for help, call for assistance, take your medicine, take your vitamins, create your community, play good music, stay away from the things that drag you down. And sometimes that can be a person, sometimes that's a relationship, sometimes those are just visual triggers, but those are really important for living healthy and productive lives, especially in this season.
You can find Dr. Terrell Strayhorn on Facebook, TikTok, also on YouTube. And he has a wonderful podcast. And tell us that podcast one more time.
Do Good Work Podcast. And if you go to any social media platform, put in Do Good Work, you'll see either my face or the face of my company. We are a consulting firm that works with schools, districts, colleges, universities, and businesses, really trying to create conditions for humans to thrive and to succeed. And so Terrell Strayhorn on all things social media, and Do Good Work.
What's going on here?
Oh, my. So listen, I've been talking a lot about artificial intelligence. And so, the best thing that I love to do other than do research is to bring it to the public square, to translate research into practice. And so this is a keynote, a talk that we're going to be talking about building belonging through smart artificial intelligence and intelligent cybersecurity. Said differently, you can start to create connections for people, not just through human and human kinds of connections, but even with the use of artificial intelligence. Have conversations, find the things that you need. And so we're going to unveil the transformative power of AI and building genuine connections for belonging, both at home, work, and school.
And of course, we're not taking away the human connection. When people say artificial intelligence, people get scary these days because they think it's taken away the one-on-one connection. Yeah, and it's not.
It's not. I mean, the cool thing that I've come to really say a lot about, oh my goodness, yes, Faith. I am familiar with Bishop Louis Felton. Love him. Man of God and a brilliant mind. But to your point, I've heard that a lot too about AI taking over the world, AI taking over the human connection. Here's the thing that I'm going to say about AI, even with AI all around me right now to hear it. AI is artificial intelligence. It is said even more directly, artificial human intelligence. It's trying to be like us. And it's, listen, some of these AI tools are pretty impressive. They can get really close to, thinking like a human, expressing logic like a human, handling tasks, especially tasks like put this in Excel or calculate these like a human. But what it cannot do is it cannot be human, right? It can't feel. And in fact, if you go to most of these AI tools and say something like, how do you feel? It'll remind you like, hey, by the way, I'm just artificial intelligence. I can't really feel. I can feel the way you tell me to feel. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor for us as humans. Like, so we said this, I think in Florida, will AI take your job? No. But a human who knows how to use AI might. Because the future of the world is AI is going to be in every discipline, every field. I'm in an MBA program right now. And in my MBA program, I have friends who have MBAs. When they were in their program, this is before AI, you calculated everything, you ran your spreadsheets, all of that was by hand or by whatever. In my program, in every class, you have an AI assignment where whether it's finance, it's economics, it's marketing, they're teaching you how to use AI to do a couple of things, St. James, to either accelerate how fast you do something, to expand the depth of the analysis in a way that wouldn't have been possible as a human on my own, right? So before you know it, here I am in this program learning, being taught how to use AI. So the moment I finish and go out into the MBA space, most businesses and companies right now are using AI to accelerate their bottom line, to increase their revenue streams. And people from my program will enter knowing how to use it. For anyone else who's saying, no, it's bad, it's not of God, I don't know, but you might want to figure out how to do it. I don't think we're at war. I think we're going to have to learn how to coexist with artificial intelligence. And I found it to be an incredible accelerator, enabler of the work we do.
That is well said. I am putting your YouTube handle in the chat. Oh, that wasn't it. Wait a minute. I thought I did. Oh, copy. I think I had to press copy. That probably would work. Because I want everyone to go there, and mods, if you can snatch that. And I'm also going to put it in the description of this video when we're done. So you'll be able to go right to his YouTube page and be able to connect it. Podcast and all that good stuff. Let's get him up to 1,000 subscribers over there.
Oh my gosh, YouTube. I would be so great. Let's see, Faith, you're right. It's a game changer. Yeah. And she said MySpace. My gosh, was that 20 years ago? It was a while ago. I think what I've been spending time, we're going to talk about this on that the talk you showed. People don't realize that AI, well, one, it's more than Chat GPT, right? It's been with us for a long time. Like if you shop on Amazon, no plug for the businesses that I'm naming, but if you are on Amazon and you shop and you buy a pair of shoes and then you put it in the cart and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you should check out this shirt and this pair of pants. That's artificial intelligence acting like a human. Because back in the day, you would need a stylist or a shopper to go with you. AI can start to mix and match and put things together through its own sort of algorithmic logic on its own. But if you are on Spotify or Pandora and you have a playlist and you say, hey, give me a song by one of my favorite singers, Jessica Reedy. And you pick Jessica Reedy, but before you, what do you say?
It's one of your favorite?
Yeah. Is she?
Oh, okay.
Is she one of your favorites?
She's a singer.
I am not doing this. Listen, I like her. I like people with unique sounds.
You like that bottom type of sound that she gives?
I've seen her like, I like sharp contrast, right? So thank you, Jesse. Blue Gob. So one is you've got this woman who's got this incredible range and a very heavy tenor bottom.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you've ever seen her perform live, like she's a really soft-spoken, kind of fragile spirit on a stage, but has this full voice. I like that.
That's why he from his city.
But okay, so you're apparently not a major fan.
I'm not going to say when people say favorite, that just takes my mind somewhere else. You know,
James, I said one of my favorites.
Oh, well, even one. I mean,
okay. So then, I mean, and Jonathan McReynolds is another, right?
Okay, all right, I'm with you.
Sharp contrast, like down to earth, but big voice, big presence. Anyway, as I think about this, so if you go on Pandora and ask for their music, you're going to end up, you ask for Jessica Reedy, but before you know it, you'll hear Fantasia and some other kinds of people. That's AI that's putting together, that's curating that playlist for you. So I don't think AI will take over the world. I think it's just going to amplify what we already have.
And even going back to your stylist point, I mean, yeah, you can do that, but a true stylist knows how to speak into AI and really orchestrate it for that person. You may have, they'll give you a version of a stylist and what they think, but still a true stylist that uses AI could do even better work for you.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying I think it's going to be a multiplier of our work. It'll be an accelerator of our work. It will help us get there faster, better, stronger, smarter, maybe, but it's not a dictator. I don't think it'll replace us or replace anything that we're doing in that way.
Listen, if you guys would like to support Dr. Terrell Strayhorn, there you are. Cash App handle, $ Terrell Strayhorn. And if you do PayPal, there it is. Just type in Terrell Strayhorn and it should pop right up and be a support to Dr. Terrell. You understand you're in your MBA program now, huh?
I am.
Well, how many more do you need around here?
You don't need that many. Here's first of all, I love to learn. And I'm in a place in life where my life is too busy for me to just sort of say, you know what, I want to pick up principles and fundamentals of finance and marketing on my own. I need the structure of a course where I have, a schedule. I've got assignments I've got to do, because I'm also a pretty dutiful kind of guy where if I know it's due, I'm going to get it done. And so for me, it's actually a dream come true. I've always wanted the MBA. I never thought about getting it until this point in my life. But after I get these done, I'm gonna be done with school. I'm gonna other than using the training and the education, more the degrees and the thermometer, but to use it like in my work. I mean, my MBA program right now, I've already seen, like, one, as a college administrator, is going to help me tremendously because higher education is a business. Two, as a podcast host, I mean, I've learned things about how to market strategically, how to, reach different market segments through planning and be more intentional about it than I ever imagined. And then lastly, because of this, which, I mean, you do this much better than I will, but I'm going to learn all I can from you, my new friend. I haven't done much monetizing of the work that I do through my podcast and my show, and watching Dr. Jordan and certainly listening to you all, and then taking my finance courses. I'm like, these are ways to build revenue to help do more work, so like
the title and get your message out there even to a more broader audience. So
that's right.
Yeah. It's not about, it's good to be around people who don't, who know how to put money and finances in the proper perspective, because when it's in the proper perspective, there's plenty of it.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be what they say, circulated instead of you don't spend money. I like that thing where you circulate it. And if you're circulating something, that means it is reaching, it is coming around. So
I
Yeah,
love
we're
that.
definitely going to do that. Will you lead us out in prayer? A prayer for those who may be in that holiday season, but I think they may feel a little bit better right now just by your words of you coming on the St. James Show, and I appreciate you coming on. Will you end us in a short prayer?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But I put something in my little notes
Okay.
here.
Well, after your last words, I'm sorry.
There we go. Okay. So I just wanted to say to anybody who's, I appreciate so much that you've shared the number. Anyone who's feeling blue, feeling down, feeling a little off during the season, if it's fleeting and it passes, just know that you're not alone. All of us are managing these emotions. If you are feeling it and it's persisting and staying with you, then reach out to that national helpline to get support. Again, I believe that those of us who went to school to learn psychology, psychiatry, mental health, counseling, any of those areas, nursing, medicine, did it because we feel a sense of purpose around helping people. And so you're not a burden, you're not troubling us. There are people who are waiting to help you. And then I want to say, certainly to you, St. James, thank you so much again for inviting me to the show. And then also for you, for your voice and your vision. You've created a platform where people can come and have honest conversation and cover a range of topics, but do it in a way where it can be safe and secure. It can be funny, but also fact-based. It can be bold, but also brilliant. And I know that I speak for hopefully your audience that, it's important. You're making a difference. You're really leading with authenticity in a space where you don't often get that. And so thank you for what you're doing. And certainly to anybody who's listening, I appreciate the subscriptions to my page, but I also want to say, subscribe to the St. James Show or tell your friends about it. And now, if that's it, then let's, if that's it, we can close in a word of prayer.
Go ahead.
All right. Most gracious, let's bow our heads. Most gracious Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together tonight to experience this conversation around depression, faith, and the holiday season. First, we thank you for this holiday season, for all that we are experiencing and that we are going through. For everyone who is under the sound of my voice and experiencing struggle of any kind, financial struggle, mental health struggle, physical struggle, personal struggles, whether it's quiet or it's loud, whether it's in public or it's private. Now, God, I ask that you would send your loving kindness, send your presence where they are. Wrap them in your arms of love. Let them know that they are not alone, never alone, that you are there with them. Send them comfort, peace, hope, joy. And tonight we offer this prayer, asking for your guidance, your grace, your mercy, your love, that you would calm our minds, which are factories of all of these thoughts, that you would steady our heart and keep it beating at pace, that you would heal whatever's hurting, that you would fix whatever's broken, that you would strengthen whatever is weak, and that you would renew our minds, renew our spirits, renew our hearts, and let us know that we have a God who sits high but looks low. We love you. We praise you. We thank you for each and every blessing. These and all other blessings we ask in your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you again, Dr. Terrell Strayhorn. And please don't be a stranger to the St. James Show.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Looking forward to it. Take care.
Take care, everybody. Have a good evening. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
He said, behold, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And I want you to believe this song. It said, you removed every one of my doubts. You
never left me alone.
Every time you brought me out, Lord, you
never left me alone.
When I was down to my very last, you
never left me alone.
You gave me more than I could ever ask.
Never left me alone.
just like this song.
no, no, never.
No, 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 no.
No, 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 never.
Oh,
No, 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 never.
you never left me.
You never let me alone.
When my heart was overwhelmed, Lord, you
Never
never.
left me alone.
When I felt like I had failed, Lord, you.
Never left me alone.
When you didn't know who I could tell, I ran to you.
Never left me alone.
And like always, you made it well, Lord, you.
Never left me alone.
Help me say never. No, no, no.
Never.
No, no.
No, 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 never.
No, 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 no.
No, no, never.
No, 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 no.
No, 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 never.
You never left me.
You never let me alone.
I've seen some things. Tell them I've seen the lightning.
I've seen the lightning flashing.
And I heard
the thunder roll.
no, 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 no.
No, 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 never.
No, no, no.
No, 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 never.
Lord have mercy.
No, 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 never.
No, 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 no.
No, no, never.
You never left me.
Never let me alone.
You know friends will come and go, but Lord, you.
Never left me alone.
You're the place that I can go, cause you never.
Never left me alone.
You're my peace in sleepless nights, Lord, you never.
Never left me alone.
And because of you, I know I'm gonna be alright, cause you.
Never left me alone.
Said no, 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 no.
No, 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 never.
Help me say no, no.
No, never.
No, 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 no. Oh, no.
No, 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 never.
You never left me.
Never let me alone.
I felt sin's breaker,
I felt sin's breaker crashing,
trying to conquer my soul.
trying to conquer my soul.
You never left me, no.
No, 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 never.
No, 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 no.
No, no, never.
No, 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 no.
Never.
No, 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 no.
Never.
Even when I'm in trouble,
No, 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 never.
you never left me.
No, 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 never.
When I felt by myself,
No, no, never.
you never left me.
No, no, never.
No, 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 no.
No, 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 never.
You never
No,
left me.
no, no, never.
I'm happy about it.
No, 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 never.
You never left me.
No, 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 never.
Time gets dark.
No, 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 never.
Time gets thin.
No, 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 never.
Friends walk
No,
out.
no, no, never.
But you step in.
No, no, never.
You never left me.
No, no, never.
Yeah.